Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here with my comparison between the Redmi K30 Pro and the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom Edition. Now, upon first view, these might look like identical phones, but let's talk about quickly what is the same between these phones and then jump to what is different about these phones. And finally, which one of these two do I think is best for you? It will depend on your preferences, but let's have a look. So let's face it guys, in terms of design, these devices are identical. 8.9 millimeters, 218 grams, with the only distinguishing feature being the Redmi K30 Pro regular has a glossy back, while the K30 Pro Zoom Edition has this matte back. Far more luxurious and far more premium feeling in the hand to me, but I will tell you guys I love the ice blue color of this K30 Pro, and there you can see the pop-ups themselves. Now the purple edge of the K30 Pro Zoom Edition is really this gorgeous deep purple, but you can tell both are very premium feeling on the sides. 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks, same very nice red accent power button, USB-C and bottom firing speakers, and antenna lines all in the same spot, and they do have IR blasters as well. The same bezel size, top and bottom. It really will come down to personal preference, but if you want the more premium feeling design, you're gonna go with the K30 Pro Zoom Edition. Displays are also identical, gorgeous bezel-less beauties, and the same display specs, DCI-P3 100%, HDR10+, 20:9 aspect ratios, Super AMOLED displays, and obviously the same dimensions here, 8.9 millimeters, with the same Achilles heel in terms of display quality, only a 60 Hz refresh rate on both of these phones. So for all you high refresh rate lovers, you'll need to look elsewhere. So we have the same audio interface, 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks, including the fingerprint scanners, Bluetooth 5.1, NFC, and the latest 802.11ax Wi-Fi, and the exact same battery capacity, 4,700 milliamperes on both of these phones, with 33 watt fast charging. And the same impressive L1 security level for wideband CDM here, HD Netflix capable on both phones. And so now you see the K30 Pro and the Zoom Edition are nearly identical in many ways. So what makes up for that big price difference of 2,999 yuan entry level, or around $420 US, versus 3,999 yuan, well over $550 US? Well, the first big area of difference is performance. We have 6 GB on this K30 Pro base model versus 8 GB on the Zoom Edition, but it's not just 8 GB of RAM, it's a better version of RAM, DDR5 versus 4X, and this is the same RAM you see on the Mi 10 series. Now there are two variants of the K30 Pro Zoom Edition. I have the top of the line version here, 256 gigabytes versus 128 on the entry level, but there's another difference between these, UFS 3.0 versus UFS 3.1 storage. And so bit by bit, you're seeing the improvements here that the K30 Pro Zoom Edition is bringing to the table. And now let's go through the benchmarks that prove this. Geekbench 5, we see a score of 942 versus 937, and 3,400 versus just under that. Very similar scores here on Geekbench, but they are higher on the Zoom Edition. And the same is true here in Antutu version 8.3, 586 versus 593. All of these scores are pretty similar, but I did notice a bit of a gap in GPU and memory, and this would explain the difference in RAM performance here with the DDR5 versus 4X on the base model Redmi K30 Pro. And here's AndroBench benchmark to really explain to you guys the difference in storage here. UFS 3.0 versus 3.1, and across the board we see better scores on the K30 Pro Zoom Edition over the K30 Pro base model. And so how does this interpret to real world use? I have barely noticed a difference, to be honest. Yes, maybe some apps open a little bit faster. The keyboard's maybe a tad more responsive, but it is very minimal, guys. And in the time I used the regular version of the K30 Pro, I didn't notice any slowdowns whatsoever. The extra 2 gigs of RAM is probably the more significant upgrade, but you can easily do that by picking up the regular K30 Pro in just the higher RAM and storage variant. And finally, the other area where these phones differ is in the cameras. So we do have 64 megapixel main sensors on both of these phones, but there are two main differences between these two camera setups. First one is OIS, and this K30 Pro Zoom Edition does include OIS on the main IMX686 sensor and the 8 megapixel telephoto, which offers a 3 times optical zoom. Now I've gotten some questions asking, is it actually using the telephoto when it is going past 3x? It definitely is, and when I've covered the main sensor and zoomed past 3x, so anywhere from 3x to 30x, you are using that telephoto lens here at the bottom right side, and that dual OIS is going to help a lot with lower light shots, just being able to grab a more steady image. I do appreciate that they have included that on this K30 Pro Zoom Edition. There's one thing that I don't appreciate about this Zoom Edition, and that is the lack of one of the most impressive cameras that I've had so much fun playing with on the regular version of the K30 Pro, the 5 megapixel 50 millimeter telephoto macro camera. And guys, you've seen some of my earlier tests. The results of this macro camera are so impressive. It's just such a fun camera to shoot with. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is going to love using this, and some may even call it a gimmick. But in terms of macro quality, it's the best macro camera I've seen on a phone ever. And so it's been a lot of fun being able to shoot with that. And so now we get to my major beef with the K30 Pro Zoom Edition. If this phone is supposed to be an upgrade of the regular version, why are they removing cameras and features from the better version? Generally speaking, when you release a Pro or kind of enhanced variant of a phone, you're supposed to add features. You're not supposed to remove them. And yes, I understand we have added dual OIS. I understand that we have the very important telephoto camera added to this, but it has come at the expense of removing one of my favorite cameras from the regular K30 Pro. And so this really puts, I think, consumers in a bind, because a lot of you guys are just going to see those awesome macro shots that I took. Then you're going to go and pick up the Zoom Edition thinking that it has that camera, only to find out that it doesn't. And it really is unfortunate in that case, because in a way now, you really have to choose, what do you value more? Do you value dual OIS, telephoto, or do you want to have one of the coolest new cameras on a phone in this macro camera? I wish Xiaomi didn't force us to have to make this decision, but it's a decision now we'll have to make. And if you haven't watched my camera showdown, go check it out. But here are a few quick samples between the Redmi K30 Pro and the Zoom Edition. And so coming up to 1 week of use with this Redmi K30 Pro base model versus the Zoom Edition, there's a lot to like about both these phones. And for you flat panel, no notch, no punch hole lovers, you have your answer here. This is the phone that you need to pick up. But which version should you pick? I think the natural desire is to just go ahead and pick up the top of the line version sometimes of these phones. But there's still a lot that the regular version of the K30 Pro is bringing to the table. If you value all the specs and you just want the most fast and future-proof phone, definitely pick up the Redmi K30 Pro Zoom Edition. That improvement in UFS 3.1 and DDR5 RAM will make a difference, and you'll be very happy that you did. But what about the rest of you who fell in love with this amazing K30 Pro at this amazing 2,999 yuan price point? You're going to have to decide if the top of the line variant performance is important to you. And remember, there's a second version of this Redmi K30 Pro which has 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. It does have the DDR5 and the UFS 3.1 storage of the Zoom Edition, and that may be the sweet spot for a lot of you guys. But hit me up in the comments, which version of this phone are you thinking of picking up? Are you going for all the specs with the Zoom Edition, or are you in love with the price and the balance of performance of the regular K30 Pro? Hit me up in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. And stay tuned, my epic battery drain and charge tests are coming up. And I know those are favorites on the channel, so stay tuned guys, it's gonna be epic. So that's it, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one.